Okay, good morning, little chilblains. I hope you're feeling well and ready to do your maths. Now, here we've got what we're calling the second decimal place. Yesterday we looked at the first decimal place, which was tenths. And what it means by first and second decimal place is the number closest to the decimal point. So the number that is right beside the decimal point is first, so it's the first decimal place. The number that is one away is second. If you imagine you were queuing to get to the shop, if you're queuing in the shop and the decimal place is where the till is, so the person nearest the till is first in the queue, then behind that you're second in the queue, and so on and so on. You can have an infinite number of decimal places, but at the moment we're just looking at two. Okay, so the first decimal place is called tenths, and if you look at the bottom right hand corner here, we've got the number 5.76. The 5 is the unit, so you can think about the 5 being the woman or the man behind the till, the decimal point being the till, the 7 is the first person in the queue, and the 6 is the second person in the queue. I mean, that's a ridiculous thing to think, but just in terms of order. So we've got units, tenths, hundredths. Okay, so if you think of your hundreds, tens, and units, tenths and hundreds, it's like they go the opposite way. So unit in the middle, tens on one side, tenths on the other, hundreds on one side, hundredths on the other, and then you can guess it goes to thousandths, 10,000ths, and so on. Although really beyond thousandths, we wouldn't use those names. We would talk about to X number of decimal places, 40 decimal places or whatever. Okay, so here we've got a bar of chocolate. This is what we were talking about yesterday, divided into 10 pieces. It's your Galaxy, it's your Dairy Milk. You're dividing it into 10 pieces, and that is your tenth, and that is your first decimal place. So you've got 8 chunks of chocolate. That would be 8 over 10, 0.8. That's what we covered yesterday. But if you take one of those little chunks and you cut it up into 10 pieces, you've then got hundredths. Okay, and that is 1 over 100 or 8 over 100 or whatever over 100. And you can see the way the diagram has been done. So the second box, so we've got our whole bar of chocolate, then the arrow to our tenth, and then that tenth you can see is cut into 10 pieces, which gives us a tiny little piece, really too small for you to cut in an actual bar of chocolate, and that's your hundredth. And down at the bottom it says, when a tenth is then cut into 10 equal bits, each bit is 100th. And then in brackets what it says there is 1/10 of 1/10 is 100th. Okay, below that in the decimal number 5.76, the 6 refers to the hundredth, and you can see that it's 2 away from the decimal point. It's in the second position. It's not first, it's second. So that is the second decimal place. Okay, keep this handy. It's on the attachment in Seesaw. Keep it handy for you to keep referring back to. So here is our first question, and it asks, this is number 5. So we did up to number 4 yesterday. We're on number 5 today, and we've actually got a lot more work today. So it's a bit of a challenge, and I do have a challenge question at the end if you think that you can do it. If you're not confident, please please don't do it. I should also say here, and this is important, if this is taking you ages and you want to do it over 2 days, please let me know that you're going to do that. Maybe you'll do down to 5, 6, 7 and 8 today, and then 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 tomorrow. And then the final question, which I think is 15, you can leave. That's an optional question. If you think you can get it all done today, that's fine. Please let me know what you've decided. I am happy either way, okay? It's not going to make any difference to me that if you want to do it over 2 days, you will just catch up later on. Okay, I'd rather you worked at a speed that suited you and you weren't stressing about getting everything done on time. So maybe you'll get up to number 9 and you'll think, right, I've had enough for today, I'll complete it tomorrow. I'm completely happy with that, as long as you let me know that that's your plan. Okay, but this video is for the whole thing, so if you want to do part of it and you want to come back and revisit the video tomorrow, you're perfectly welcome to do that. Okay, I really, really want you working at the right pace for you. I don't want you to feel under pressure. I do want you to be challenged, so don't think this is a reason just to do one question and have a little snooze. No, 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 no. Take your time, get it right. Ask me if you've got any questions, but do it at the pace that suits you. Okay, so here we've got, this is really a continuation. 5 you shouldn't have any bother with because it's exactly the same as the work we did yesterday. 5a 0 point, or it's not exactly the same, it's very similar to what we did yesterday. So 5a 0.5, and then you've got 3 hundredths, 0.5 something. B, we're still at 0 point, and it's written there for you, 0 point. There's no whole bars of chocolate. There's just 2/10 and 6/100. Okay? And I'll leave you to do the rest. It's in exactly the same format as yesterday. It's just that we're using hundredths as well as tenths today. And 6, again, is exactly the same as yesterday to draw pictures. 0.35, 0.72, no it's not, it's 1.72, 3.81 and 0.05. That will be the quickest one to draw, but take care with it. Okay, and then it's asking you in the decimal number 26.89. Now listen to the way I said that. I said 26.89. I didn't say 26.89 because it isn't 89. Okay? It's not tens and units. It's 26.89. Now, what I want you to also notice is that in D, there's an extra 0.05. 0 is a placeholder there. We don't need to put zeros at the end of the number. So, for example, if your answer was 0.5, you don't need to put an extra 0 there, unless, of course, you're dealing with money, or time, in which case you do need 2 digits there. So 0.89, what does the 8 represent, and what does the 9 represent? And then 8 is asking, what does the 7 represent in each of these numbers? So 8a, 72.18, B, 235.72, C, 57.02, and D, 26.37. Okay, so moving on to question 9. Very similar. What do these show? What are these as decimals? Now, just to let you know, it is exactly the same. There's wholes, there's tenths, there's hundredths. They're just different shapes. Okay? So there's 2 wholes there in A, there's 4 tenths, and there's 2 hundredths. And I'll let you do B by yourself. D, draw neat pictures in the same style. So that is in the same style as number 9, not as the ones that we did yesterday or the ones on the previous page. In the decimal number 36.19. What does the 9 represent? Sorry, what does the 1 represent? What does the 9 represent? And again, what does 9 represent in these numbers? That's very similar to what you've already done. 13. Arrange the following numbers from smallest to biggest. Okay. And now this is the 14 and 15 are the last ones that I expect you to do. The last one is a challenge only if you feel like it. So what is 0.1 up from 1.6? 3/10 down from 5.7. So A, it's like a takeaway sum. And 6, the 6 is in the same column. So 1.6, the 6 is in the same column as the 0.1. So it's basically like 1.6 take away 0.1. Okay. And obviously 3/10 is the same as 0.3. When we look at E, 2/100 is the same as 0.02. Just be careful of your columns. That is the thing to watch out for. I say that a lot. Think about your columns. Write columns down if it helps you, as it was on that first page, the yellow sheet. Now this is really difficult. You might want to. I don't know how you get on with this. We did cover something like this back right at the beginning of term. What number lies halfway between 0.3 and 0.5? So what I would do, if this is me doing it, I would say, well, what number lies halfway between 3 and 5? Well, that's 4. So what number lies halfway between 0.3 and 0.5? It's 0.4. Okay, so try and think of it like that. Your really difficult ones are E and F, and I'll tell you why. Because in E and F, you're going to use your hundredths column, your second decimal place. All the others, wait a minute now, 3, halfway between 3 and, no, all the others, you're going to be in the first decimal place, but E and F, you're in your second decimal place. Okay. Here is the one then that is a challenge. The average of two numbers lies right in the middle of the two numbers. So Leslie is 1.1 meters tall and Guthrie is 1.4 meters tall. What is their average height? That is asking what is halfway between 1.1 and 1.4. Okay? And I'll leave you to work out the others by yourself. Any problems, let me know how you get on.